I was 36 when I died, and I thought I was a good person. My name is Sarah Brennan. I died on March 14th, 2023, at 7:42 in the morning, in my kitchen, with a cup of coffee still warm in my hand. I was dead for 11 minutes. But in those 11 minutes, I saw something that changed everything I thought I knew about love, about faith, and about the one sin we all commit without even knowing we're destroying ourselves. The morning started like any other morning. I remember the sound of the coffee maker gurgling in the corner, that familiar bitter aroma filling the small kitchen of my house in Ashwood. It was a Tuesday. The kind of Tuesday that feels like 1,000 other Tuesdays. Cold light coming through the window, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant sound of cars passing on Maple Street. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. I had my phone in one hand, scrolling through emails before work, planning my day down to the minute. I was efficient, I was busy, I was important, or at least I thought I was. I worked in marketing for a mid-sized company. Nothing extraordinary, but stable, comfortable. I had a nice house, a car that ran well, friends I saw occasionally. I went to church most Sundays. I prayed before meals sometimes. I considered myself spiritual. I posted inspirational quotes online. I said the right things. I smiled at the right times. From the outside, my life looked put together. From the outside, I looked like someone who had it all figured out. But inside, there was this coldness I didn't want to admit, this distance between me and everyone else. I was always thinking about the next thing, the next task, the next goal. I listened to people, but I didn't really hear them. I looked at faces, but I didn't really see them. I was present, but I wasn't there. Not really. I told myself I was just focused, just driven, just protecting my energy. Everyone's busy, right? Everyone's got their own life to live. I had mine. I remember my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, an elderly woman who lived 2 doors down. She would wave at me sometimes when I was rushing to my car. She'd try to start conversations. I'd smile, wave back, say something quick like, "So sorry, running late," and disappear. I told myself I'd stop and talk next time, but next time never came. There was always something more urgent, always somewhere I had to be. I didn't think much of it. It seemed innocent enough, just being busy, just managing my time, just taking care of myself first. My sister called me a lot. Emily. She was going through a divorce, struggling with her kids, barely keeping it together. Every time her name appeared on my phone, I felt this weight, this exhaustion. I'd let it ring sometimes. I'd text back later, something short and encouraging but distant. "Thinking of you. Things will get better." But I never asked how she really felt. I never made time to just sit with her in the pain. I told myself I was giving her space, that she needed to figure it out on her own, that I couldn't carry her problems too. I had enough of my own. At church, I sang the hymns. I bowed my head during prayers. I donated when the basket came around, but the moment the service ended, I was out the door. No coffee hour, no lingering conversations, no getting involved in ministries or outreach programs. I told myself I was an introvert, that I needed my boundaries, that serving God didn't mean I had to exhaust myself for other people. I could love from a distance. I could pray for them without getting too close. That was enough, wasn't it? That Tuesday morning, as I stood in my kitchen with my coffee, I felt the same as always. A little numb, a little distracted, a little relieved that I had my routines and my walls and my carefully managed life, where no one asked too much of me. I took a sip of coffee, glanced at my calendar on my phone, and then it happened. A sudden pressure in my head, like something inside my skull was expanding too fast. The phone slipped from my hand. I heard it clatter on the tile floor. The sound echoed strangely, like it was coming from far away. My vision blurred at the edges. The kitchen tilted, and then nothing. No pain, just absence, like a light switch flipping off. I don't remember falling. but I remember the quiet. The sudden, absolute quiet. It was the kind of silence I'd never experienced before. Not just the absence of sound, but the absence of noise inside my own head. No thoughts racing, no plans forming, no anxiety humming in the background. Just peace. Deep, bewildering peace. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about what came next. I wasn't anywhere. I just was. And then I realized I was looking down. At my kitchen. At my body, crumpled on the floor near the counter, one arm stretched out, the coffee cup shattered beside me, dark liquid spreading across the white tile. I saw myself from above. My face was pale, my eyes were half open, and I felt nothing about it. No panic, no fear, just curiosity. A strange, detached curiosity. Is that me? Am I dead? I tried to move closer to see better, but I wasn't moving the way I used to move. I was just shifting, drifting, like I was made of air. And then I heard something. A sound. Faint at first, then growing. It wasn't a sound from the room. It was coming from somewhere else, somewhere beyond. A pull, a call. Not in words, but in feeling. Like the universe was gently tugging at the center of my chest, saying, "Come, come now. It's time." I turned away from my body. I didn't look back. I couldn't. The pull was too strong, too magnetic, and I wanted to go. I wanted to see where it led. I moved through the wall of my kitchen, through the structure of my house, and into something I can't fully describe. A tunnel maybe, but not dark, not confined. It was made of light, but it was also made of love. I could feel it around me, in me, through me. It was warm and alive, and it knew me, really knew me, every part of me. I moved faster, or maybe time moved differently. I don't know, but I was being drawn toward something, a brilliance ahead. A light that was so bright it should have blinded me, but it didn't. It was gentle, inviting. I could see a figure in the light, a man. And as I got closer, I knew who he was. I knew without being told, without needing proof. Jesus, not the painting on the church wall, not the statue on the altar, but him, real, living, more real than anything I'd ever known. He stood there in the light, and the light was coming from him. His face was kind, but his eyes saw everything. Every lie I'd told myself. Every time I'd chosen comfort over compassion. Every moment I'd looked away. And still, he smiled. Not a smile of pity, but of recognition. Like he'd been waiting for me. Like he'd always known I'd come. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't find words. My thoughts were loud in the silence. I'm not ready. I didn't finish. I didn't do enough. I didn't. He raised his hand gently, and the thoughts stopped. His voice wasn't loud, but it filled everything. "Sarah," he said. And the way he said my name, it was like he was saying, "I know you, all of you, and I love you anyway." I felt tears I didn't have. A breaking inside me I couldn't stop. I wanted to fall to my knees, but there was no ground. Just light, just him. "Why am I here?" I finally managed to ask, though I didn't speak with a mouth. The question just was. He looked at me with those eyes that were full of both sorrow and hope. "Because I want to show you something," he said. "Something millions are missing. Something you missed, too." I didn't understand. What did I miss? I went to church. I believed. I prayed. I tried to be good. He stepped closer, and I felt his presence like a warm wind. "You were good, Sarah, but you were not loving." The words hit me like a stone. "But I never hurt anyone. I was kind. Come," he said, and he reached out his hand. "Let me show you what I see." I took his hand. Or maybe I just moved toward him. And suddenly, everything changed. We weren't in the light anymore. We were standing in a place I recognized, a street in Ashwood, my street. But it looked different. Everything had this strange overlay, this shimmer, like I could see two layers at once, the physical world, and something beneath it. Something true, I saw Mrs. Chen, my elderly neighbor, sitting on her porch. It was a memory, I realized. A day I'd walked past her months ago. She was sitting there with a cup of tea, looking out at the street, and I saw myself walking to my car, phone in hand, barely glancing up. She'd raised her hand to wave. She'd opened her mouth to speak, and I'd smiled that quick automatic smile and kept walking. But this time, I saw what I hadn't seen before. I saw her, really saw her. The loneliness in her eyes. The way her hand stayed raised a moment too long. The hope that maybe today, someone would stop. Someone would ask how she was doing. Someone would sit with her for just 5 minutes. And I saw the way that hope faded when I walked past. I saw her hand lower. I saw her turn back to her tea, shoulders sagging just a little. And then I saw something else. A shadow. A thin gray shadow that seemed to wrap around her, tightening. It wasn't physical. It was spiritual. I could feel it. Loneliness. Isolation. The slow death of the soul that happens when no one sees you. When no one cares. And I realized with horror that I had contributed to that shadow. Not with cruelty, not with hatred, but with indifference, with my absence, with my refusal to give what she needed most, someone to simply be present. Jesus stood beside me, watching. She prayed for a friend, he said quietly. She prayed for someone to see her, and I sent you. Every day I sent you, and every day you walked past. The weight of his words crushed me. But I didn't know, I whispered. I didn't know she needed— You didn't ask, he said. And there was no anger in his voice, just truth. You didn't ask because you didn't want to know, because knowing would have required something from you. Time, presence, love. I couldn't look at Mrs. Chen anymore. I turned away, but the scene changed. We were somewhere else now, a coffee shop. I saw myself sitting at a table, laptop open, headphones in, and I saw a young woman at the table next to me. She was crying. Quietly, trying to hide it, wiping her face with the back of her hand. And I saw the version of me in the memory glance over once, notice her, and then deliberately look away. I turned up my music. I focused harder on my screen. I pretended I didn't see. But in this vision, I saw what was happening inside her. I saw the thoughts racing through her mind. The desperation. The feeling that no one cared. That she was invisible. That maybe it would be better if she just disappeared. And I saw how close she was to that edge. How one kind word, one moment of human connection might have pulled her back. And I saw myself choose my comfort over her life. Jesus' voice was soft. She didn't disappear that day, but she came close, and you were the only one near enough to reach her. I didn't know, I said again, my voice breaking. I didn't know it was that serious. I thought it wasn't my business. I thought someone else would help. Everyone thinks someone else will help, he said, and so no one does. The scene shifted again, and again, and again. I saw moment after moment, my sister calling, needing me, and me sending a text instead. A homeless man on the street asking for food, and me walking faster, pretending I didn't hear. A co-worker breaking down in the bathroom, and me staying silent because I didn't want to intrude. A child in church looking lost, and me staying in my seat because I didn't want to be awkward. Over and over, I saw opportunities, small, simple opportunities to love, to see, to be present, and over, I saw myself choose comfort, choose convenience, choose self-protection, and in every scene, I saw the same gray shadows, growing, spreading, the loneliness, the isolation, the slow dying of the soul. And I realized I had been feeding those shadows, not with evil, not with malice, but with indifference, with coldness, with the absence of love. Jesus turned to me, and his eyes were filled with tears. This, he said, is the sin that millions are falling for, the sin that seems innocent, the sin you call boundaries, self-care, protecting your energy, But I call it what it is: lovelessness, a heart that has turned cold, a soul that has learned to look away. I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to explain, but I couldn't, because I knew he was right. I knew that I'd convinced myself that being busy was a virtue, that keeping my distance was wisdom, that I could love God without loving people, that I could follow Jesus without giving my life away. I gave you a commandment, he said. Love one another as I have loved you. Not when it's convenient, not when it's easy, not when it fits your schedule, but as I have loved you, completely, sacrificially, without holding back. I fell to my knees in that vision, though there was no ground beneath me. I felt the full weight of my failure. Not the dramatic failures, not the obvious sins, but the quiet, constant failure to love. The small, daily choices to close my heart, to walk past, to look away, to let someone suffer in silence because it was easier than getting involved. I'm sorry, I sobbed. I'm so sorry. I didn't see what I was doing. He knelt beside me, and his hand touched my face. I know, he said, but now I'm showing you, so you can see what I see, so you can feel what I feel. And then I felt it. The pain. Not my pain, but his. The heartbreak of watching his children suffer in loneliness while others walk past. The agony of seeing people who call themselves Christians live with cold hearts and closed doors. The grief of loving a world that refuses to love itself. They think they're protecting themselves, he said. They think they're being wise, but they're dying, slowly, quietly. Their souls are starving because love is what feeds the soul. And you cannot love from a distance. You cannot love without sacrifice. You cannot love without getting your hands dirty. He showed me more. I saw churches full of people who sang about love but never practiced it. I saw believers who knew every verse of the Bible but couldn't name one person they'd sacrificed for that week. I saw families where everyone was physically present but emotionally absent. I saw millions of people walking through life like ghosts, never truly connecting, never truly seeing each other. All convinced they were doing fine, all slowly freezing to death. This is the epidemic, Jesus said, not the dramatic sins the world talks about, but this, the quiet death of love, the slow hardening of the heart, the gentle turning away from one another. It's killing you, all of you, and you don't even see it. I looked at him, desperate. But how? How do I fix this? How do I change? He smiled, and it was the saddest, most beautiful smile I'd ever seen. You die to yourself, he said. Every day, you choose to see people instead of walking past them. You choose to be interrupted. You choose to be inconvenienced. You choose to give when it costs you something. That's what love is. Not a feeling, not a word, but a choice, a sacrifice, a death. He stood and pulled me up with him. I'm sending you back, he said, back to your life, back to your body. But you won't be the same. You'll see differently now. You'll see what I see, and it will hurt, because love always hurts. But it will also heal, because love always heals. I grabbed his hand, terrified to let go. What if I forget? What if I go back and fall into the same patterns? He held my face in his hands, and his eyes were so full of love it was almost unbearable. Then remember this moment, he said. Remember that I showed you the truth. Remember that millions are falling for the lie that they can follow me without loving people. Remember that the world is dying for lack of love. And you have the power to change that. One person at a time, one moment at a time, one choice at a time. He leaned close, and I felt his breath, warm and alive. Don't waste this gift, he whispered. Don't go back and pretend you didn't see. Love them, Sarah. Love them the way I love you, recklessly, completely, without counting the cost. And then he let go, and I was falling, not into darkness, but into light, back through the tunnel, back toward my body. And I felt the pain before I felt anything else, my chest exploding with pressure, my lungs burning, my heart slamming back to life. Someone was shouting. Hands were on me. Voices were calling my name. I gasped, and air rushed into my lungs like fire. My eyes flew open. I was on my kitchen floor. Paramedics were around me. One of them was crying. "She's back," he was saying. "She's back. Oh, thank God she's back." But I wasn't thinking about the paramedics. I was thinking about Jesus. About what he'd shown me. About the weight of it. About the truth I could never unsee. They took me to the hospital, ran tests, told me I'd had a ruptured brain aneurysm, told me it was a miracle I survived, that 11 minutes without oxygen should have left me with brain damage, that I shouldn't be able to speak, to think, to move. But I could. I was whole, more whole than I'd ever been. But I was also broken, broken open, broken apart, because I couldn't go back to who I was before. I couldn't walk past people anymore without seeing them, really seeing them. I couldn't ignore the loneliness in someone's eyes. I couldn't pretend not to hear when someone needed help. I couldn't hide behind my busy schedule and my carefully managed life. The first thing I did when they released me from the hospital was visit Mrs. Chen. I knocked on her door with a bouquet of flowers and a box of tea. When she opened the door, her face lit up with surprise, and then with joy. Pure, unfiltered joy. "Sarah," she said, "you came." "I'm sorry I didn't come sooner," I said. And I meant it. I meant it with everything in me. We sat on her porch for 2 hours. I listened to her stories, her fears, her loneliness, and I cried with her, not because I had to, but because I wanted to, because for the first time, I let myself feel what she was feeling. I let myself be present, fully present. I called my sister that night. "Emily," I said, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I haven't been there. Tell me everything. I want to hear it all. I want to help." She cried, and then she talked, for hours, and I didn't rush her. I didn't try to fix it. I just listened, just loved her, the way Jesus had loved me. I went back to church that Sunday, but this time I stayed. I joined the coffee hour. I talked to people. I learned their names, their stories. I signed up for the food bank ministry. I started visiting the nursing home every week. I began looking people in the eyes, really looking, seeing them, acknowledging them, loving them. And I won't lie, it's hard. It costs me something. My time, my comfort, my energy. But every time I want to walk past someone, every time I want to put my headphones in and pretend I don't see, I remember what Jesus showed me. I remember the gray shadows. I remember the dying souls. And I remember that I have the power to bring light, just by choosing to love, just by choosing to see. For a long moment after I came back, I just stood in the quiet between heaven and earth, realizing the light was never gone. I was. I had turned away. I had closed my eyes. And all Jesus did was open them again. This is what I came back to tell you. This is the message I can't keep silent about. The innocent sin isn't so innocent. The sin of indifference, the sin of being too busy, the sin of protecting yourself at the cost of loving others. It's killing us, all of us. And Jesus is weeping over it, not because he's angry, but because he knows what we're missing. He knows the joy we could have if we just chose to love. He knows the healing we could bring if we just chose to see. Millions are falling for this lie. The lie that you can follow Jesus with a cold heart. The lie that faith is about what you believe, not how you love. The lie that boundaries are more important than sacrifice. But I'm here to tell you the truth. Love costs everything. And it's worth everything. Because love is the only thing that survives death. It's the only thing that matters in the light. If this story touched something in you, if you felt a stirring in your soul, I want to ask you something. Don't let this moment pass. Don't close this video and go back to life as usual. Subscribe to this channel so you can be reminded of what really matters. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe someone who's forgotten how to love. Maybe someone who's dying of loneliness. Maybe someone who, like me, has been walking past people for too long. And then do something more. Do something harder. The next time you see someone who needs you, don't walk past. Stop. Look. See them. Love them. Let it cost you something. Because that's what Jesus did for you. That's what he's asking you to do for others. The world is dying for lack of love. But you can change that. Starting today. Starting now. One person at a time. Don't waste this gift. Don't let the truth fade. Hold on to it. Live it. Love like you died and came back knowing that love is all that matters. Because it is. It always has been. And it always will be.